No, I don't know. All right. Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to pick Vaijo.
Okay, ma'am. Let me present. Okay. Kita na po ba?
Yes.
Okay. Wait lang. So, I want to start by introducing myself, like as an artist. So, my name is Vaijo Mora. You can call me Vaijo, and I'm an artist. So, back then, I really don't get what art was. So, I actually hated having art homeworks or seat works that involve painting and such. It is because back then I didn't understand why we had to do it. Like, unlike mathematics and science, we were once told the benefits of acquiring knowledge in these fields, but no one told me what's the useful benefit of coffee painting that can guarantee survival in this life. Though not until I reached high school where I realized most of the things I see and use were possible to exist because of art. From the simple yet eye-catching product packaging, the numbers of persuasive advertisements I see on TV, to my own printed T-shirts, uh, things started to be clearer. They gave me answers and made me understand why. I also discovered that I have a talent for art in high school, yet I wasn't confident enough to show it. That's why I didn't join our school's poster making competitions or other events related to art. Yet, when I reached senior high school, I was fed with a lot of knowledge, skills to learn, techniques to adapt, different mediums to study in the field of art. My art teachers persuaded me, pushed me to do this, even though it's not really my goal for college because I was aiming for architecture back then. But then I'm here. The medium that I'm comfortable with is mostly acrylic paint, but I sometimes use other mediums like watercolor and gouache. For me, acrylic is a challenging medium since it dries a lot faster than other mediums like oil paint. I use oil paint too. Yet you can always work around with acrylic paint whenever you make mistakes. Because in any case, you can just paint another layer on top of it. So the artworks I make usually have a touch of Vincent van Gogh's art style, or I mostly use the color blue and yellow. It became my personal touch to all of my artworks. I love how these colors coincide in one masterpiece. I am fascinated by how it depicts solitude, deceit, and uncertainty, such as how art became my personality. But then when first sem for fine arts came, I was like shocked when back to basics. Like we have to use graphites, charcoal, and that is the very least medium na gusto ko. Kasi I kind of, like, I always label myself as I skip the part when you have to learn from the basic. So um, most of the artists I know, they came from sketching, graphite, charcoal, then colors. But me, I started using colors. So when we started using graphite, na nibago talaga ako, nahirapan ako to adjust because it's like a jargon to me, like graphite, what, how to use that. So I was very challenged, very like most of the plates I have, walang isang plate na hindi ako na, wow, like wow. I thought that I was on peak na, and one plate na, nagawa ko to. I'm on my peak. But then another plate came, then discovered like, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do that. So in this portfolio, you can see my progress, the I can point out the realization and such when I was making this plate, and also the challenges I faced and critics that ma'am made me realize. So that helped me improve as an artist, and also my art, of course. So as you can see, most of the drawings are completed by using graphite and charcoal on different kinds of paper. Kasi at first I thought that we will be using, sorry, we will be using vellum. My sister introduced that paper to me, but then watercolor was required. Pero sa last three plates, we used different kinds of paper, right? So I will get into that later. So next is the very first plate or project that we made was the pencil chart. So there was three objectives that we have to achieve, like, or I have to achieve for my own, in my own opinion. So the gradation of colors from lightest to darkest to hard to softest. Then we have to use different pencils, of course, but in my case this was like the first week of classes, and I didn't expect na you have to draw na talaga. So my pencils haven't arrived yet. Mabagal yung Shopee. But it's okay. I've used 11 pencils here, 9 graphite and 2 charcoal pencils, but now I have a lot of number of pencils now, and I've also discovered different kinds of uh brands, like instead of Stapler, my fiance's sister introduced me to Toyson Trior. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but it's good then. It's much blacker than Stapler, but it's very good then. And last objective is the cleanliness, of course. Then what I've learned in this activity is that every grip of the pencil, or how you grip the pencil, matters, because like pag super strong yung grip mo sa pencil, mas hindi flexible yung kamay mo mag-move. So may tendency na yung lightness din ng strokes at lightness ng head mo maapektuhan siya. So yun siya. It's very good. Then yung technique ko lang sa cleanliness dito is I've used washi tape in sa gitna. So, washi tape kasi hindi siya masyadong madikit sa watercolor paper. So, pag tanggal, hindi nasasama, hindi nasisira yung paper. So, it's very good tape. It's brandless. So, so next, also I will show this na from the lightest shade of pencil to the darkest shade of charcoal. So, nalagay ko din dito yung label na 3H to hard na charcoal, then harder, lighter yung dito na side, sa left side, then pag papunta mo sa right is it's softer and darker. So, yan siya. Next slide. So the next plate is the upside down plate. So the objective was exercise on how the mind will play tricks while we copy the drawing. Then training on drawing what you see. Then exercise on self-honesty. Simula sa plate na to, lahat ng plate na ginawa ko, lagi ko nilang inaalala na draw what you see, because that is the objective of the subject, visual perception. So this this plate was very helpful. So what I learned is even your own mind, own brain, like yourself, play tricks on you. So it's kind of tricky to like, what? I thought I know myself, but here is it. It's like, like, and it practice self-honesty, diba? We have to practice self-honesty. While I was doing this plate, and I really want to like, can I just rotate this and like draw, because it's easier. Like it, like when you draw and it, that that portrait is upside down, so you can work on it because it's upside down. Si hindi ka sanay. But then, yes, Then, in the process of making this plate, I just said to myself that don't overthink, just draw what you see because that's the objective. Then, that's it. I've made it. Then, na-observe ko lang when I was making this presentation that I was ano din may journals na you have to observe the details because the details will help you uh, construct the picture kahit na upside down siya. Like, kung yung tama ba na apat lang yung fingers niya, so something is missing. So, it will help you. So, next slide, next plate is the plate without lifting the pencil. So, this plate was, na-apply ko din dito yung natutunan ko dun sa pencil chart, the grip of the pencil, lightness of the hand, and number of strokes. Like, pag masyadong hard yung ano mo sa pencil mo, magli-leave siya ng hard na strokes. So, but mas maganda siya sa pag-outline. Then, the way you hold the pencil na pagpahiga siya, pwede kang mag-shade na pwede mong gamitin pang shadows. Then, number of strokes, ginawa ko yung technique na yun na nag-scribble na ako dun sa part ng forehead. So, yun siya. Next slide is one of my favorite plate I've made is the basic shapes. So, yung goal dito is blocking of shapes. I kind of had enjoyed this plate because when I saw the pictures, nag-overthink ako like, sobrang hirap nito. Paano ko kaya ko gagawin to? Then, I reviewed the materials ma'am posted. Then, I saw the pictures, how that artist made blocking, then constructing the picture itself. Then, I just said that I can do this. Then, I was shocked. Even me, myself, when I finished this plate, kamay ko ba talaga yung gumawa nito? Ganun siya. Tapos, I've applied everything I've learned so far, like from the highlights and shadows, basic knowledge of those things. And this is it. And I was amazed. Like, technique here is I presented it full screen on my laptop, then I backed down, like 3 steps away from my laptop, then just think of what main shapes do I see, and I draw the sketch paper. Then I made this. Basic shape of the cat and the dog. Then after that, I just added details and the fur. Mom told me that I did a great job in the fur, and I was very like, wow. I didn't even expect it to be great on that part. So it's very, 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 very good. So next slide. So the comics. So this is actually very personal for me, and I just checked mom's comment just this afternoon. I haven't checked it when you commented. Sorry, ma'am. Pero ayun nga, this comics, so the instruction was use lines, shapes, and forms to execute your comic. So the minimum was 5 cells, but then I had to be longer. So the theme was studying in Kalayaan College that aims to portray the students experiencing studying in Kalay. Then I thought na I'm still a freshie, so I don't know talaga what's the experiences of students na nagsa-study dito sa Kalay. So, naisip ko na, okay, I'll just, na lang, experience ko. Then, naisip ko, 2 weeks pala ako sa Kalay or 3 weeks. So, di ko talaga masasum up kung ano talaga yung experience ko sa Kalay. So, I just thought na, oh, pwede siguro before, hindi pa ako nakapasok sa Kalay. It's just that nakapasa lang ako, ganun. Then, okay, is it fine that I'll read it? So, this is Tita Lola Marites, and this is Tita. So, pauwi kami. So, ang sabi dito is, pauwi ako, then, like, we were having conversation with Lola Marites and my tita na sumundo sa akin, and sabi ni tita ko, no, it's good to have you back here, Iha. Like, it's been 3 years. Yung 3 years na yan is the lockdown, is the pandemic kasi parang 3 years na rin akong hindi nakauwi sa province naman sa Mindanao. So, I have this Lola Marites na she was very disappointed with me, obviously, because hindi ako nakapasok. I mean, hindi ako nag-enroll doon sa mga universities, the big four, because of problems and stuff. Then, I told her na I'm currently studying in Kalayaan College, Lola Maritas. The instructors there are as good as the professors in UP. Then she cut me off. Then sabi niya, but still, it's not UP. Like, then sabi ni tita na, Lola, it's not about the universities. I heard she's improving as an artist there in Kalay. Then this character is me. So yes, it's not just because they are committed to quality higher education, they also value their students' welfare, especially their mental being. I included that part because the very first question when the very first class and sa whole college life ko, that professor asked us the very first question na, how are we? How are kamusta yung mental health namin? So that was this is very new. I didn't expect this. Then it was a very good question to start this semester actually. So in-include ko siya. And last part is, are you saying that they don't, Lola Marta said that, are you saying that they don't have that in UP, UST, Ateneo, or in LaSalle? So I said nothing like that, Lola. It's just that in Kalayaan, I learned that in college, it is about finding your passion. You can't you can't move forward if you keep on doubting your skills just because others are ahead of you. Your time will come. So I actually posted this to my IG art account, and a lot of guys also told me that yeah, your time will come. Then mom told me na in big universities, napapabayaan nga raw yung mga students just kasi nga madami sila, 'di ba? So, hindi masyadong nafo-focus, nabibigyan ng atensyon. Kumbaga, kasi madami sila, hindi ma-handle ng isang professor lang. So, we have pros and cons, but just be thankful that we are here. Thank you. Next plate is the types of textures. So, in this plate, I was actually very shocked because we have to draw this. Like, I doubted myself, like, kaya ko ba to? Especially the artificial texture. Because at first look, it was very, very difficult, like, just to see it and think that I have to draw this. It bugs my mind na, okay. But then, I did it and I just applied what mom taught us, like, especially the leaf part, because actually this is not the first, I mean, pangalawang beses ko siyang ginawa kasi before the meeting na nagturo si ma'am nun, tapos ko na yung leaf. Then, nung nagturo si ma'am na a technique that is very useful na, sabi ko, bakit hindi ko naisip yun? Ang galing nun. So, inulit ko siya. Then, I applied ma'am techniques. Then, it actually went great. So, this is the natural texture. So, sinunod ko yung sinabi ni ma'am na i-block mo lahat ng paper mo, then you erase the highlights, then add shadows kung saan mo nakikita yung shadows. It's actually very helpful. I hope na ganun din sa inyo. Then this is the textile texture, the visual texture, the paint, and the artificial texture. I'm actually very proud because ito talaga ako nag-overthink na, okay, this is very hard. But then, you just need to see what's like the shadows. Kasi madaming shadows dito sa plate na to. Dito sa specific picture na to. So, if you know where to put your shadows, madali mo na lang i-construct yung mismong watch or yung picture. Kasi, alam mo na siya. It's the basic. So, that's very awesome. So next slide is plate. The plate is glass. So what I did here was I experimented with a lot of light sources. Experiment ako na kung nasa taas ba yung glass, maganda ba siya? Or nag-iiba ba siya? Nagmamatter ba kung yung tubig half lang or puno? So then, sa lahat ng experiment ko, iba yung kalabasan. So, hinati-hati ko sila. So, sa gilid yung yung light, then sa half lang yung glass, then naglagay ako ng background para mas malinis siya. So I can focus on the highlights and the shadows. So yun siya. Next slide. Next plate. Next plate is the dried leaves. So same lang din with glass. Nag-focus din ako sa highlights and sa shadows. Actually, ma'am pointed na kulang nga daw ako sa highlights dito, and tinignan ko siya while making this presentation. Yeah, kulang ako sa highlights dito. I need to erase some of this part kasi mayroong highlight dito na part and wala siya dito. A good part in making this presentation is ikaw mismo nakikita mo yung mali mo, nakikita mo yung kung saan ka pa pwede mag-improve. Since tapos na yung SEM, tapos na yung dapat ituro ni ma'am, na-absorb na namin yung mga lessons na yon. So like in making this presentation, like you have realizations like, yeah, I need to improve this. I have to erase that and put shadows or exaggerate, no, like mas lagyan pa ng highlights. So it's very good. Then next is the palm. So ang dami ko I actually enjoyed making this plate kasi yung mga pictures na pinakita ni ma'am, may mga gano'n lang, like, it's just a palm, gano'n. Pero may isang picture kasi na parang nagho-hold something or may structure, may form yung hand. So, ako din, na-challenge ako sa self ko na, gusto ko rin ng gano'n. Gusto ko ng challenge sa buhay. So, nag-isip ako kung ano ba, na gano'n-gano'n ako. Tapos sabi ni ate ko, and I was downstairs and I was like thinking of a form to make or para picturean ko. Sabi niya, gumagawa ka ba ng sign para sa Naruto? Kasi yung Naruto, ganun siya. So, ayun siya. Ito yung naisip ko because na-intriga ako kasi dalawa yung shadows dito. May dalawang value ng shadow. Like, sabi ko sa sarili ko, bakit? That's why I asked ma'am when nag-class na siya. Sabi niya na pag malayo yung bagay, pag malayo yung light, tapos pinatungan mo pa siya sa ibang bagay, nag-iiba talaga yung value ng shadow. So, it's a very, very good, to study another aspect sa paglagay ng mga shadows. So, in this part, small details matters too because may mga lines yung palm natin. So, if you look into that detail, mas maganda tignan yung plate mo, mas realistic siya kumbaga tignan. And we also need to, I don't know, because I think my hands were sweaty that time, so may highlights talaga siya sa fingertips niya. So, proper highlighting din kasi I learned na sa last plate ko na dried leaves, kulang ako ng highlights, and ayun nga, value of the shadows. With different value yung shadows. Next plate is fur, plate fur. So the material was a YouTube tutorial and sunod-sunod ko talaga siya ginawa, pero hindi ko siya like kinopya talaga yung nasa sa YouTube. Sinunod ko lang kung ano yung sinasabi niya. So like flow of the hair, like imaginein mo daw kung paano mag-flow yung hair ng isang fur. Then the important part here is the highlights and the shadows, like but how you use your kneading eraser. So pwede siyang maliit, pwedeng makapal, pwedeng manipis. So it's very helpful din. Okay. Next plate was the 2D and 3D plate. So in choosing the objects, I actually kind of label it like easy, medium, and hard. So this object is easy for me, then medium object, and the hardest one. So it's actually fascinating how highlights and shadow plays a crucial role in making a flat picture into a 3D picture object. And in this plate also, lighting also matters because pag nasa likod siya, walang shadow, so it's kind of boring. So, mas prefer ko na nasa gilid angled yung yung lights para mas makita talaga na may shadow siya and ma-emphasize siya na it's a 3D object. So, ito yung sa first object, it's a cup. Then second, was not really satisfied with my glass plate nung nakaraan. So I decided to include a glass to this plate to see progress and improvement. So napansin ko na in this picture, oh sorry, meron siyang super highlighted part dito. So I included it there and I actually very happy with the result. Then the last object was my favorite among the three because there was this clear division of uh, the light part here, the light part of the object, and the dark or the shadow part of it. But then, kasi nga lighting matters, mas mataas kasi yung light kaysa sa object nito. So, dito na part, kasi pa-angled yung fold ng object, hindi pareho yung value ng shadows niya. It's very good. So needs to study the structure due to the number of folds ng object which affects the value of shadow and amount of directed light to a specific object or surface. So dito nakikita natin siya. Dito iba yung highlight niya, ay shadow niya, dito iba din, and dito yung darkest.
Please make it faster kasi it's almost 5:30 and
Sorry, ma'am. Okay.
we have
Okay.
3% All right. Thank you.
So this is the plate with different light sources. I somehow think that the bottle is the earth and lamp was the sun kasi nga nag-iikot-ikot siya. So reminds me of the activity in our photography class in junior high kasi we have yung light sources din sa face. So this is from the side, from the back, from the front, from the top. So I've noticed na yung blackness din ng cup matters when nag-iiba ng light sources. So ayos din siya. Next plate was the curtain. So I was challenged din dito. So structure of the cloth and curtain, you need to study it kasi para mas maintindihan mo kung paano talaga yung flow nun. Like cloth ba talaga siya tignan? So I actually practiced with actual cloth. Then different values of shadows kasi pag mas malapit yung yung curtain dun sa door, mas dark siya. Pero pag mas malayo, mas lighter yung shadow niya. So it helped me achieve this plate. Then highlights and shadows then. Then next plate is the patterns. So I've chose optical art and expressionism. So in this plate, this artwork is entitled I Love You. So I expressed how I see love these days, the pretentious love, the abuse, the love that the relationship with love and hate relationship, and people who are stuck with love, but it's not really love. It's just that a responsibility kasi you are here. That's why I depicted this face na there's another face on top of your face when you are loving. So that's my personal artwork. So this color wheel, I actually very enjoyed making this plate because I was really challenged to tickle the artistic mind because mom told us na make a color wheel, but a touch of art, like artistic. So this color wheel was nature inspired. So ito yung mga from yellow to orange, ito yung mga objects na kulay din ng nature. Yun yung dinagdag ko siya. That's my color wheel. I actually very enjoyed very, very, very. Then the last plates were plate still life in different kinds of paper. The first one was an a toned paper. The second was dark blue, and the third was the craft paper or the brown cartolina. Then in this plate, like nung gumawa ako, sabi ko, shadows are everywhere kasi naka-toned. So nahirapan talaga ako like how to draw ng lahat na may shadow, but you still need to put shadows. So it was very challenged here, but still I'm here and this is the presentation. So the second one was the most challenging sa lahat ng plate, from pencil chart to craft paper. This is the most challenging plate. No, seriously, this is the most challenging for me because the paper is super dark that it blends to the color of the pencil. Even yung 9B, nagbe-blend siya. Tapos pag like nagba-blend yung stump or like yung paintbrush, nawawala kasi glossy kasi yung cartolina. So nagsa-slide lang siya, hindi kumakapit yung pigment. So it was hard. So na ano ko na patong-patong na layer. So it's very it's hard actually, pero I actually enjoyed it. Then I've used white oil pastel on the highlights kasi yung sa charcoal kasi, tinry ko siya, hindi siya white, nagiging blue siya kasi sumasama yung pigment ng cartolina. So in this plate, I actually explored a lot of mediums para lang ma-achieve yung gusto kong ma-achieve. So, and variety of using blending things like materials, I mean, paintbrush, stump, I even used cotton. Kasi kailangan talaga ng iba-ibang blending materials kasi nagmamatter yung lightness and yung darkness nun. And also the hardness of your pencil pag gano'n ka-hard yung paglagay mo. Then, the last plate, okay na ako dito kasi ang dami ko na natutunan sa dark blue. So, chill na lang siya. So, highlights are like erasing, then value of shadows din, especially sa balls. Then, I also applied what I learned in making fur here kasi I think fur material yun siya. And mostly here then, I explored on making shadows, values of shadows, since yung sa cloth niya. And we can't use highlighting materials or like white materials for highlights. So that's it for my presentation. I'm sorry it's natagalan, but thank you.
All right, thank you, Vaija. That was very, very good presentation. I have no comments anymore, except that
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you po.
you've done a really good job and you improved a lot. Okay, so who's next? Catherine, go.
All right po, ma'am. I'll share my screen po.
Okay.
Can you see my screen na po, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so before I start again, good afternoon, everyone. So, according to ma'am, we were asked to make our plate presentation based on the plates that we have to do. So, yeah. So, for the month of August, we were asked to draw a pencil chart. So, this is what I did. So, in this activity kasi like you have to really use different kinds of pencils and to really like practice on how to hold your pencil really properly because if not, parang mag-iiba yung darkness niya. So, yeah. And it really exercises your mind then while you're doing this activity. So, yeah. Right. For the month of September, we were asked to do upside down tape, plate without lifting the pencil, basic shapes, comics, types of textures, glass, dried leaves, and palm. So for the upside down plate, actually this is one of the activities, I mean, one of the plates that I found it challenging to do because we really have to draw it upside down and you cannot really rotate the paper. And while I was going to do that activity, I was having hesitations like, shall I really draw this like in an upside down form or I even told myself na I should rotate na the paper. Baka sakaling it really works, but the activity really says that we have to draw it upside down. So I had fun. no matter how hard it is and challenging it is to do. So yeah. Next one is the plate without lifting the pencil. Um, this is also challenging for me. Same as the upside down plate. And in fact, I had to like repeat this again because while I was watching my time lapse video again, I lifted up my pencil, but the instructions was to not really lift up the pencil. Like if there's a paper in front of you, and then if you're gonna draw it, you just really have to steady like your paper and without I mean do not really lift it. So yeah. Okay. So here's my video. Can you see the video po, ma'am?
Yes, but doesn't play. So maybe you could just skip it
Okay.
if it is not
Is
playing.
it play? Ah, it's not playing po.
No.
Okay. So despite it's not playing, so yeah, I really uploaded this one for the video just to prove that I'm not lifting my pencil anymore. So yeah,
Okay.
that's the
It's
brief one. Okay. Next one is the basic shapes. Um, for me, honestly, this is actually one of my favorite activities that I found it easy to do. Um, Also because I think I found it easy because I don't know, it's just like you really have to draw. I mean, you really have to draw some basic shapes. Like if you're like while looking the reference photos of the animals, like you just really like have to exercise your mind of what shapes are really used for that kind of animal. So yeah, it's really good.
okay.
So yeah, for the comics, ac- actually I found this a little bit challenging but at the same time fun. So what I drew here was like from my experience in Kalayaan College. So um from what the from the way I understand, so I draw based on my experience on my online classes since I also experienced this last year during my grade 12 online class since yeah online classes kasi started last year. So from what I did here was to draw what the experience like 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 from this box. I was like exercising because like we have a PE subject and there are times that we have to stand up, not only focus on discussions, but if there are times that we really have to move our body, we really have to stand up. So yeah, that's what I did. And for this one, for the types of textures, um, this is let's say it's easy naman. I found it easy to do, and at the same time, it's really fun. So um, I had I really had to draw this for like long because I really want to improve on how to improve the darker side and to make it more beautiful, to be more presentable. So yeah, I'm I'm actually satisfied with this activity, and yeah, I found it easy to do.
Okay.
So for the glass for the glass activity, um, I actually had the courage to do this be- because I found it really easy to do. But uh, it's quite okay, but there are times that I really have to improve myself when it comes to highlights because I lack of highlights. So when we say highlights, kasi like there are objects that were hit by the light. So
Okay.
in order for that to be improved, I have to use my kneading eraser.
Mhm.
just to erase some parts because not all parts of the glass are dark. So if you see something that is light, you just have to really erase it immediately so that it will really look like a glass. So yeah. Okay. So for the dried leaves, so yeah, I actually had the hard time finding some leaves since most of the leaves that we have here is fresh. So I had to ask mom again. So since I only have fresh leaves, but she said dried, so I had to find some leaves again, and thankfully, uh, there are dried leaves already. So I I I had to get at least two and then just to draw it. And the activity kasi for this one is that the position of the leaves should not be changed as well as their light. So I found it actually hard to do, but I have to really like give my all just to draw whatever the position of the leaves are. So yeah. So for the pal, um actually, I had to repeat this because the other palm that I did wasn't really satisfying. But for this one, I see to it that I can I can still have the chance to improve more as an artist. So for this one, yeah, I was quite satisfied now. This is actually better than the first palm that I did. So yeah. So for the month of October, so it's a fur. Um, for this one, I actually watched the YouTube video, but um, for this one, I had to find the reference in Google, and then I just have to draw it. And for the highlights, since there is some parts of the fur that have highlights, I have to really erase it because I really have to exercise my mind, and I really lack highlights. So yeah. So 2D to 3D, yeah. I found I found this activity cute to do, and I have no problem with it at all. So yeah. For the different light sources, so yeah. Um, for this one, I actually don't know how to really um say, but I guess I really found this activity some easy to do, and um, I think I'm confident enough to say that I I practice a lot of like highlighting to really erase some parts, and yeah, that's all I can say. So for the curtains, yeah, this is actually challenging for me aside from the upside down plate. And um while doing while doing this, there are times that I had to revise some parts, like if there are some parts that are dark but the picture itself is light, I really have to adjust it immediately. I mean, I have to revise it immediately because not all parts of the object are dark. So yeah. So for the patterns, what I did was a shape. It's more of a puzzle as I see to it. For this one kasi like you are allowed to make your own pattern, and you have to use your pencils and as well as the monotone color. When we say monotone kasi like one one color but different shade. So yeah, this is actually a huge blow to me because because I think I'm used to use pencils for the past few weeks, but when I knew that we are going to use monotone, I was overwhelmed. So I gave myself an opportunity to really do this. So yeah.
Catherine, you have 5 more minutes.
All
Oh,
right. All right now.
speed it
Okay.
up. I'm sorry.
All right. Pa. For the color wheel, yeah, I actually had to find source from Google for the circle one, but I realized that I wasn't really satisfied with it, so I had to make it more creative. So I decided to add some squares, and the more I added, the more it looks more pretty. So yeah. So still life, toad paper. Um, I actually had fun to do this, especially for the highlights, and I'm really like confident enough to really erase those. So yeah. For the dark blue, actually this is really challenging for me because I don't even know if I can really do this since it's really dark. So but I gave myself an opportunity to really use some materials, some light materials, especially when it comes to the highlights. So, yeah. And lastly, for the craft paper, yeah, I kind I kind of found it easy to do. Uh, and yeah, especially for the highlights, like I have to really erase those because it helps me exercise my mind and as well as self honesty. So, yeah, that's it. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. Wow, okay. That's a round of applause, guys. One thing I could comment on you, Catherine, is that you improved somehow. And then from the first step, from the diagnostic to the craft paper, there is some, you could see now there is tone, there is some shading, and learn how to shade. So you improve naman. And this is your first year, and hopefully, after many years, you would be as good as any master. So, okay, don't uh, keep on practicing. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So next, Manuel Marcus, are you there? Marcus. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Wait lang.
Okay. You have 10 minutes um to present. All right.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
Okay. Please share your screen.
Hang on, ma'am. I'm doing that now.
Okay.
Wrong app. Okay, 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 okay. Wait,
Relax. Relax.
how do
Okay.
I post for this? Okay, never mind. Anyway, hello everyone. You know me, I'm Marcus Katsaklan, and this is my portfolio. Let me just preface this with a bit of a disclaimer. This is not yet finished since there was a lot since I'm not used to getting myself together and getting some things straightforward to the line. But but you get it. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of time
Mm-hmm.
consuming. Just being transparent about being transparent that I wasn't able to finish this. Yun lang po. This is all. This is what I have, and this is what I felt throughout. This is how I'm going to tell how I felt doing these plates. So the
Okay.
pencil chart.
Okay.
Of course, I of course I found it easy since few uh, I only had a few pencils, but at
Mm-hmm.
first I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure if I needed all pencils with possible shadings. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go for the former decision, and I'm pretty. was kind of proud to finish this in nick of time, if I if I can remember. For the upside down plate, I'm also proud to say that I find this easy, but I'm pretty, but it'll depend. Of course, I then thought after finishing this, hmm, perhaps this won't be easy for some people. Naaawa ko if I pass it. But then I went with it anyway since I'm required to. And then I made the and then the big no that I found out was that I wrote it, no, drew it on a medium na hindi sunod-sunod sa instructions. So sorry about that, teacher. Ayun po.
Okay.
For without lifting the pencil, I know this screenshot of the footage looks sketchy, but would you rather wait for an hour for the actual video within the slide to actually play? Nope, because it's 5:12 and I need to wrap this up a bit. Okay, this is what I have. As I was making the vid, um,
Okay.
it is it is moderately hard to say the least because not only had I had to make it within the, not only would I have to make it in someone else's room, don't ask something, don't ask something happened. I needed a bit more resourceful to be a bit more resourceful. And ayun, did, I did make it. I did make it in the
Okay.
end. Teacher already saw it, but I'm not, I'm not sure if it would, it would age well. Anyway, next for basic shapes, I also find this a bit weird to do because
Mhm.
um, even I only did spo uh, spoiler. I did the shapes before, but it was not my favorite things because it was the basics and all people, and I was under the impression that that is so basic. But then I realized that basics are the freaking foundation when it comes to making art. So no, I should not skip. I was like, no, I should not bail out on this. So I went with it anyway, and I did. And this is the final result. Next for the comic, I was a bit confused. I was a bit confused when making this because even though I did apply for KC uh, last of last year, right, like this, but this year, like 2021, is my first year in the art department. Last year, I was in the psych department. So now it's different. So I had to um, put myself into the shoes of a random student trying to keep up with, trying to make it, trying to make it through an everyday day. And this is what I have. You may not, you may not see what the texting is, but the person is basically texting a friend. I mean, the person is basically thanking a friend via text for staying with him or her. You can it, the character is non-binary, so you can call it, I mean them, whoever you want. So ayun, the
Why
friend
didn't
is just
why
thanking his or her friend uh to for staying with them, staying by their side, you know, social support, ganon. That's that was what is on my mind until now, at least. Next, types of textures. Um, I'll be honest, this was hard. I chose, but at the same time, I wanted to do a bit something challenging this, a bit more challenging this time. So I chose, so I chose the picture of the waves, the blue acrylic waves, and tried to mimic the lighting, the shadowings, and positions of the waves. And it's not my best, but not my worst. It just it just looks like some sort of abstract fever dream that involves an eye in the middle, in my opinion. It can be, and it might be other people's opinion when they see this too. But mm, yeah, this is a this was a what I would put in words, a bullet hitting a person's arm. The heart is the jackpot, but instead I just hit the arm, which is good,
Marcus,
but not that
Marcus.
good. Anyway, next
Okay.
is glass. This is a bit hard, but I did it anyway because I was encouraged by my mom after she caught me on the dining room trying to draw it, and I was having a hard time. But she encouraged me to at least, sorry, to at least try to make it look good. And I did. But that, but I think that discouragement came from the fact that I forgot that I actually did this kind of thing before. I drew a glass before, but I forgot about it because, so many things happened last year and this year, so I needed some storage in my brain to remember certain things. But then, yeah, when I look at this, I think, why the hell did I forget that I can do this, pala? And if and the fact that if other people can do it, I can do it too. So yon. So in here was supposed to be dry leaves. I don't know why the picture was here. I think it didn't process into the slide, but they but I'll tell you how it went through. It was fine. I have a I have a tree at my home. There were leaves on the floor. Most of it was dry. Pinunod ako ng isa, put it on my desk, and then went with it. I just went with it. But I d- I made a big no in drawing the leaf on a porous surface. Instead of a flat, non-porous surface, I did it on top of a faux leather mat. And it ended up making the feel of putting the pencil down bouncy a bit. I'm
Marcus.
sorry.
Oof.
End of presentation. I'm sorry, there isn't a lot, and as I said, there were I wasn't paying attention to the time,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
honestly wasn't paying attention to the classroom.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. And but good thing I'm not duwag to be transparent about what I have or
Mm,
have
yeah.
prepared.
Thank you,
So
Marcus.
sorry and thank you.
Thank you. So, Benjamin, you have 10 minutes or until 5:30. You may share your screen now. Marcus, can you please mute yourself?
Can you hear me, ma'am? Hello? All right. All right. So this is my art portfolio of all the drawings I've done for this school year. So I'm just gonna keep it short and simple. So let's start. The first thing I did was the shading. This is obviously the pencil tones. Sort of hard time trying to get the transitions to be smooth. As you can see, there's like a little bit of rough edges, edges here and there, but I was able to get all of my pencils here. So even if the final product was a bit rough, I sort of had fun trying out all these new pencils I bought from Lazada. Flipman was not easy to do. Well, since obviously the man is flipped, he's upside down, so he sort of threw me off. But I managed to pull through by thinking of everything here as a bunch of lines I have to replicate. So in the end, I think I was able to persevere well enough for this to look pretty good. The worried old man, the do not lift your hand type of art is actually pretty fun. I've actually done it before with my hand, so the challenge made it fun. And this is the first time I've actually done it for a real life portrait face. So I tried doing tricks. As you can see here, there's like squiggly lines that make up the shading, which makes the aesthetic a bit quite unique. So overall, I'm really proud of this one. The cat, Vanel Brothers, the cat and the duck. Not really a fan of the cat, to be honest. It reminds me of Beerus from Dragon Ball, but I think he looks good enough for the final product. And I really like the duck here. I really like the duck. I don't know why, but I just like how I executed the shape of the duck. I think I really did well for the duck, and the shapes are still there, so you can see what shapes I based the drawings off of. Still stuck here. It's actually the first comic I've done traditionally in a long time, since ever since 2018, ever since I got my digital tablet. I've all the comics I've done were all in Clip Studio Paint or in Photoshop. So instead of making 3D models for the room, I actually had to draw the windows, I had to draw the laptop. And this one's me, obviously. This is my hair prior to when I cut it a little. It pretty much shows my thoughts on being stuck in online classes for years. Texture of the abstract. I had no idea how to pull this off, since, well, it is an abstract paint, so I didn't really know how to replicate the each intricate details. So I had to do lines here and there, shading here and there. Texture to artificial. Honestly, both in digital and traditional, drawing artificial stuff is hard for me, because I'm sort of restricted here. I'm forced to make simple lines, which is not really that easy with a hand. I have to find tools such as this ruler, but since I didn't have the ruler at the time of drawing this, I had to use my pencil as a straight edge. And additionally, making all of these circles here is not easy. It's very repetitive, and it's a little tiring. On the other hand, making natural drawings is really fun. It lets my imagination flow through. I don't have to be restricted into making perfect shapes. I can use my hand to carve whatever shape I want, and that really allows me to be free. So I'm really proud of drawing this leaf. Texture of the Timeless. Once again, I'm not really good at drawing artificial stuff, so you can see how I'm struggling here with making the circles. But in the end, I had a lot of fun shading it, and that's what matters. In the end, I really like what I did for the watch. Half empty, half full is a glass. Half empty, half full glass is in the title. I sort of had a hard time trying to draw all the intricate reflection details in this glass here. Obviously, it's a new glass, and it's not like I kept this water way back then. Fallen leaves. Once again, I love drawing nature stuff. So I had fun drawing. I had fun replicating the leaves I found. I started a hard time finding these dry leaves. They're outside, but there were much more live leaves other than dry ones. So I was able to find two dead leaves. So thankfully, I did. So here's the leaves. Had fun with them. How I managed to make these dots? Well, I didn't actually use them with a normal pencil. I used these charcoal blocks to make these dots in the upper leaf. So that's that. Palm of humanity. That's, well, it's my right palm. It's not that hard to draw, but sometimes it is a little difficult trying to replicate it, but at the same time it's not. Don't really know what I can say. 3 more minutes left. Orb of fur. Yeah. Sort of a fan here. I do like drawing the fur here. I did draw realistic fur before, or more like realistic hair, but I applied what I learned making realistic hair from way back then into doing this one. Mix it up with the videos that ma'am sent about drawing fur, and this is the final product. It's an orb of fur. 2D 3D. Simple as don't know what I can say, but what I drew was this handrest, this mouse, and this pen holder for my digital pen. Shading the pen holder was actually pretty fun, and I'm quite satisfied with the 3D outcome. Not so much for the 2D ones. Shades of light. I had my bottle of alcohol and had to use my flashlight to light it up on different angles. Don't know what to feel about this one. It is a little flat, but I decided to draw it like that so I wouldn't have a hard time drawing the same thing multiple times. Curtains. Had fun drawing the curtains. The chair and the windows, not so much. I put more of my effort percent on the shading and the curtains, due to the malleable shapes as compared to the restrictive shapes of the windows themselves. Mysterious patterns. I sort of had to make stuff up for this one, but sort of proud of it nonetheless. I used the charcoal blocks to shade it faster. Pizza wheel. So when ma'am said that I had to make the color wheel creatively, not just like a basic color wheel, this is the idea I had. I decided to make a pizza, and I decided to use an art pen I haven't used since grade 11. And in the end, I really like the pizza. I really like the outcome of this one. I really, really like it. But this is my. I am not good at watercoloring, but I sort of had fun making this nonetheless. Still life toned paper. This was sort of tough because there was a lot of logos that were in the image. And I was like, no, ah, ah, no thanks. That's just way too much for my mind to handle. I'm really sorry. But toning the paper was quite an interesting task. This was the first time I've done it. I sort of used sandpaper and the charcoal blocks to tone it, and I copied what I saw in the image. Dark blue paper, much better. The problem is the dark blue paper I ordered didn't have the same texture as normal paper. It's sort of like a Christmas wrapper. But I persevered nonetheless, and this time I drew the wire that wasn't in the previous one. I added a little bit more detail here. I added the Chips Ahoy logo and the Pocky logo. And this is the first time I used colored pencils in a long while. So I used white to do the highlights, and I'm a little bit proud of this one. I really like the use of the white colored pencil and the dark blue paper. Final one's the craft paper. This there was a lot of humans there, and having to do that in limited time was rough. So I dealt with the humans first, and then the other props such as the sticks and the Christmas ornaments. As you can see, I used the charcoal block to make the little dots there. Had fun making the sticks and the other Christmas decorations that's wrapping these sticks together. And that's pretty much it. That's all of my art stuff. That's all. That's all. That's all, folks. Thank you.
Ma'am, naka-mute po ata kayo.
Sorry. That was really, really cool, and like how you presented it. um, Although some parts of your drawing could be improved, but I like how you presented it. So it's really, really cool. So give him a round of applause, guys! Yay!
Thank you.
So so could you some points for you to improve? I like how you do the proportions, like you are able to draw it accurately, so somehow. Well done, but you need to improve with the shading. All right, you need more to be patient with the shading. I know it's not as fast as you want it to be, but um yeah, you need to improve on the shading, and so far you're going to get better at it, and hopefully someday I will see you um excel on it. But so far um I'm really impressed with how you do the proportions. So all right.
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
okay, so um thank you guys. Thank you for coming in today. You have, for those who haven't